This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
This is the Limitless Keith Lee, and I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open podcast. Mwah.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Patron Mailbag of the Busted Wide Open podcast, episode number 9. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. I look forward to this show every week, Nick. This is the show where our patrons get to ask us questions, and we answer them as best we can, because sometimes these get really tough, and I love it.
Yes.
If you would like to ask us questions, all you have to do is sign up to be a patron. And to do that, you go to patreon.com/BWO and just sign up for one of them tiers. And you too can ask us questions every week and have them answered right here on this very show, Nick.
Yes, and for those that are still wondering and maybe just now joining us on this episode, this used to be our listener questions segment that we had at the end of every show, but the show started running really long and this started running really short, so we broke it out into its own dedicated series just for all of you patrons so that we could have time to spend on all of your wonderful, wonderful questions. And here we are today where our show ran long and we're crunched for time, and we're kind of back to the same conundrum, so bear with us today. We will get through as many of these as we can.
Oh yeah, we still got to answer our questions from last week.
Oh God, yes, we're still working on catching those up. So yes.
Oh Lord.
But yes, quick rundown of the housekeeping. Come over to Facebook, like the page, search for us, Busted Wide Open on Facebook, like the page, send us a join request, get into the group, find the Discord server, get into Discord, live chats all week, and for the pay-per-views, Instagram and Twitter at BWO Podcast, and streaming live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/Busted Wide Open. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when we go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's youtube.com/Busted Wide Open. And for the patrons, again, you guys are the ones that rock. This show is for you. Get in to patreon.com/BWO, sign up for one of those tiers, and be able to ask your questions right here on the show, like Mr. Patrick starting things off, and he says, since I see the Baby Yoda thumbnail, what do you guys think of The Mandalorian so far?
Oh, you ain't going to like my answer.
I'll give mine real quick, which is, as if I have time with all of the wrestling content going on throughout the week and the holidays and the travel and the work and I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I hear it's amazing. I hear it's fun. I hear it's really cool. And for the fans that love Star Wars, are they really going to like it?
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to the trope of the prequels, which is, you like Star Wars, you like Darth Vader, well, now you get to see him as a little kid. Well, you like Yoda? Now you get to see him as a little kid.
Well, apparently it's not actually Yoda. It's another member of Yoda's species, Nick.
It says the nerd that doesn't like it. Go ahead,
I don't like it. That's what I've heard. Haven't watched it either. But Nick, they're only half-an-hour episodes. You can have them in bite-sized chunks. Look, from everything I've heard, I haven't watched either. From everything I've heard, like, they're doing everything right. The serialization of it, the portrayal of everybody, like, there's a lot of fun stuff. You have a new little cute toy-ready thing with Baby Yoda, you know, which basically looks like a irradiated, shaved Gizmo from Gremlins. It's fine, great. Y'all have asked me Star Wars questions before, and here's the problem. I used to be an enormous Star Wars fan, but I'm also one of those guys who's just kind of had my love for the series killed off. They've just burned it out of me to the point where I don't care about Star Wars anymore. There's still like I'm basically Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi, where there's that little nugget of Star Wars love that that little part of me that once was good is buried really, really, really far down deep in there. But it's too late for me, my son. I'm too far gone. I don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. I don't.
Wow.
Like, I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'm sure.
Hot take.
I'm sure it's a great show. Have fun with that, guys. Whatever. You know, I went to Star Wars Land for the first time recently over at Disneyland right down the road. And it was cool. I was really impressed with what they did there. And there was that.
Did you stay in the Starship Hotel?
No, I didn't stay in the damn Starship Hotel.
You didn't wear one of the costumes they leave for you in the wardrobes? You can cosplay during your stay?
No, I literally, I saw a bunch of the costumes they have in Star Wars Land and like picked one up, kind of looked at it. And I'm like, I remember being a kid and watching Return of the Jedi in the theaters, and Luke walks into Jabba's palace in the black robe and the all black outfit and just going, I want to be that guy. I was like, that is the coolest thing my young mind had ever seen. So badass. And they had that outfit there, and that little nugget of me went, if I were a kid, I would still like that. And then, old jaded me went, no, it's too late for that now. We don't care about these things anymore. Our childhood is dead. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't see The Mandalorian. Probably
Clint Eastwood sitting on the front porch in Gran Torino going, you can't get in your damn Star Wars.
Stupid Mandalorian.
What the hell is a Mandalorian
anyway? If it's not Boba Fett, I don't care. Hashtag Boba Fett. Yeah, no, so all right, cool. Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's fine. And with Disney Plus coming out, it's a great thing to debut. It's going to get all the subscriptions. It's really clever. And you've got the entire Marvel. Listen, I'll sit here and praise the merits of the Disney Plus thing. All is from here to it's going to blow Netflix out of the water because they've got all the content.
It's going to
they've got all the content now.
We're going to go off on a whole tangent here because I got a whole ton of opinions on Disney Plus and how they're screwing up and how they're going to screw up because Disney doesn't know how to release stuff out of its vault. But we are not even going to go there here. This is a wrestling show.
You ain't got the time or the inclination to run the game down on me.
Oh, no. I got the inclination. We ain't got the time. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Screw Baby Yoda. Screw the Mandalorian.
All right. Next up, thank you, Patrick. Next up, Robert. Merry Thanksgiving with Christmas just around the corner. Yes. What are you guys' Christmas traditions? For me, I always end up making the stuffing in blankets. And of course, I make the Yorkshire puddings. Yorkshire puddings. Yeah. What? I know what they are. Sir Dangerous, do you know what Yorkshire puddings are?
Yorkshire puddings.
Yorkshire puddings. They're basically like croissant muffins. Yeah. They're like a light, fluffy.
I've got it. So I work at one of my bars is an Irish bar, and we've got a whole bunch of the expats that come in, and one of the guys brings in a whole ton of them every year. So, yeah, I'm gonna get stuffed on them this year.
Roast beast and Yorkshire puddings all day. I love it. Sunday dinner.
Bring it
for
on.
Sure.
Bring it on. What was the question?
What are some of your? Yeah, I'm lost.
I'm hungry now.
I just feasted myself into oblivion 48 hours ago, and I'm already back.
At least one of us did. I had to work.
What are some of your favorite Christmas traditions? I have a good one. I'll go first. Mine was coming to your bar with a bag full of Chinese food on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
When I didn't travel, I would always go. For me, it was there's a thing when people come to LA and they're away from home, but they're not going to travel back, and it's getting Chinese food. And it's similar. I know there's a lot of Jewish folks or people that aren't Christian that don't celebrate Christmas on that day that also go out for Chinese food on Christmas Eve or things like that. So it was something I would always go around. There's an amazing Chinese food place around the corner from one of Ian's bars, and I would always go get, before we ever did the show, I would always go get a $30 worth of Chinese food and just come sit at the end of the bar where the Council of Hats sit and sit there and feast on my Chinese food hanging out at the bar. So, yep, that was one of mine. I don't know. Put up. What are Christmas traditions? I don't really have any.
Yeah, you can't see here, but Christmas right off camera, right here, Christmas tree right behind me. It's already up and shining bright. But as far as traditions, like I suppose I have a bunch, but then also not a lot because I barely ever see my family, which is funny because they just live right up the coast in Northern California. So I guess if I had a tradition, it would be going home for Christmas. And the family, we have a whole bunch of like typical things, like we go see a movie the night before, and then the day of we have like our specific food that we always have every year. But that's kind of it, I guess. As far as traditions go, is just going home and seeing the fam, and that Christmas drive up the coast is always it's always fun that time of year. I remember a really good one year where my sister had flown in.
Unless it snows on the Grapevine for some reason.
Oh no, I've gone through snow on the Grapevine. It's fun. I love crazy weather. I love that stuff. Take my 4x4 all-wheel drive, baby. Come on now. And no, my sister came down. We just sang Christmas carols the whole way up. It was a blast. So that's probably the closest thing I have to Christmas tradition.
I will start a thread in the Facebook group, and we can have a big. I would love to hear what a lot of you guys are. So please weigh in on that one. Look for that thread in Facebook. I'd love to hear what you guys' Christmas traditions are, because Esther and we're on our third Christmas, and we're kind of just now developing some of our
traditions,
recurring things that we do. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'd love to hear what some of you guys' traditions are as well.
Or whatever holiday it is. If it's not Christmas, if it's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever.
Holiday Kwanzaa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the holiday traditions are.
Sure.
One tradition I have that's not necessarily just Christmas, but it's to get this back to wrestling a little bit. Like I said, I rarely go up to see my folks. But one time I always do without fail is Christmas time, and I put a lot of work in the rest of the year so that when I ask for that time off, they can't say no. But so then one of the traditions becomes when I'm up there, I hang out and watch the wrestling with my pops. And Pops is not like, he's not a wrestling aficionado or everything. Like, he doesn't watch it regularly, but when we watch it, he really enjoys it. I still remember to this day, probably one of the hardest I've ever seen the guy laugh is at the William Regal Kiss My Ass segment with Vince McMahon. I thought he was going to actually die. He was laughing so hard. So one of the traditions is just pulling up like some recent good match and just sitting there and watching it with Pops. And
nice.
Yeah, so that will probably happen
nice.
Over this Christmas vacation as well. Is some recent. I would say Walter and God, why am I Mustache Mountain? Why am I suddenly spacing on kid's name? Trent Seven
Tyler
and
Bate.
Tyler Bate. Jesus Christ! Wow, the fartiest of brains today. Tyler Bate, Walter, but 46 minutes that's long. I'm gonna have a hard time getting him to sit for that, but that's one of the best ones I can remember. Maybe I'll have to show him Osprey Okada from the G1. I don't know. He loves that stuff. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Robert, for the question, and happy holidays to you and yours. Next up, Andy, former champ. It's WrestleMania 36. All the current main roster champs still have the titles, and Vince wants you to give them all to other superstars. Who would they be? Oh, and you can only use the current NXT roster. And if you use a current NXT champ, you need to give that title to someone else too. My head just exploded because I have all kinds of stuff.
Well, let's before, because Andy, what you did here is trigger the serious Nick booking vibe.
Yes.
So let's rein in the Nick booking a little bit here. Let's keep it organized. Let's keep it straightforward. Let's look at the titles. Current main roster champs, that's all the titles. So let's go for the Blue Universal title. Bray Wyatt. Yep. He has to lose the title.
Yeah.
Who does he lose
to? NXT people. What? It says, and you can only use the current NXT roster.
Like you can use the current NXT roster to call them up and give it to them, but it can be any other superstar from any brand.
He says you can only use the current NXT roster.
Jessup, are you in the chat right now? Would you weigh in on that?
He is.
Andy, would you weigh in on this? I'm saying your question is that you want all of the titles to change hands and you can only give it to someone else on the main roster or the current NXT roster. I believe that is the question. Not you have to give it from the main roster people to NXT people. And I think Nick is misinterpreting here. That is my suspicion.
I'm literally reading and you can only use the current NXT roster.
Right. I'd like to call people up. I said, if you use a current NXT champ, if you use an NXT champ.
Confirmed in the chat, only NXT.
Well, crap. So we have to give main roster, we have to give NXT people the main roster belts?
Who's gonna beat Bray Wyatt for the Blue Universal Championship from NXT?
From NXT?
Tommaso Ciampa.
What?
Gut shot. Come on. Just fire him out. We can write backwards later. Just fire him out.
I'm sorry. I'm still catching up on this. Oh, no Raw. Okay, that is what he's asking. That is...
It's kind of weird, but I kind of like it.
That's
Tommaso
totally,
Ciampa.
yeah.
It's a very limited kind of selection, so it's
throws
not hard.
my shit right out the window.
Who beats Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship from NXT at WrestleMania?
That's easy. Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle. There you
Matt
go.
Riddle.
Let's see.
Bray Wyatt. Who beats Bray Wyatt from NXT?
Tommaso Ciampa.
No. Finn Balor as the Demon.
All right. Well, that's too easy. Yeah.
It's also logical. It comes. We were saying that match was going to happen.
It's what we should have had in the first place.
It's what we said was going to happen. What do you mean it's not? It's too easy. Get the hell out of here.
Because he's the prince now.
Oh my God. You can come out. How about if he comes out as the Joker, Nick?
Yeah, sure.
He can come out as the Joker wrestler. Yeah. Okay, then it's okay.
Dubstep music and everything. Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. All right.
That's why they took the music away from Buddy Murphy. Because they're going to use it for Balor.
Right. Who takes it away from Shinsuke Nakamura?
Only on the NXT roster? Velveteen Dream.
Yep, I agree with that entirely. That's a good one. That's a fantastic one.
I kind of really want to see that now.
U.S. title. Who takes it off of Rey Mysterio?
Keith Lee.
Nice. Ooh, yeah.
Keith
Lee.
I
can't think of a better one than that.
I was trying to think of big man face.
Yeah.
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee.
Don't you forget about Keith.
I forgot about him.
No. Don't you forget about Keith. Okay, all right.
Agreed.
What's the what are we missing?
So wait, hold on.
Oh, we got to do the women's. We did Intercontinental. We did U.S. We got to do the women's.
Tag teams.
Oh, tags. Yes. Okay. So Raw Tag Team Championships. Who has them right now?
Viking Raiders.
That's
Undisputed
right.
Era. Undisputed Era takes it off of them, and tag team. And what tag teams are there right now in NXT? Good God.
I mean, you said Undisputed Era, right?
Undisputed Era takes it off of Viking Raiders as
and New Day on SmackDown, who is I'll go Forgotten Sons.
Okay. Well, then who? But then who takes the Undisputed Era tag belts?
Oh, so
what other tag teams are there in?
We're missing who's going to replace the current title holders.
Yeah, because you can only if you use a current NXT champ, you need to get title to somebody else. These are the rules, Nick. These are the rules.
Who are the face tag teams? Oh, well, we can't use Lee. I was going to say Lee and Dijak, but take him off in Undisputed, but we can't because Keith Lee's going to go, This is fun. I like this. This is the head goes.
What other tag teams are there still? Birch and Lorcan are done. You used Forgotten Sons already. Yeah. No. Private Party. Excuse me, not Private Party.
Street Profits.
Street Profits are up on the main roster now.
Yeah, the tag division is a little slim right now.
It's a little slim in NXT, isn't it?
I don't know.
Dang.
Well, let's do the women's titles and come back to the tags because I don't know that there's anybody that we can give the tag.
Moss and Sabatelli. Are the champs.
They'll bring it back in their Maserati. Women's Becky Lynch, Raw Women's Championship.
Rhea Ripley.
All right, and then SmackDown is Bayley.
Shayna Baszler, and then you make Io Shirai NXT champ.
That's good. Oh, that's good. I like that. There you go, champ. We're missing
tag team.
Oh yeah. Current is the Oscar. I'm not gonna say Kabuki Warriors.
They have to go to NXT.
I mean, dare I say Vanessa Bourne and Armenian Carmella?
No, don't say that. How dare you? I don't know who else is there down there who's kind of technically a tag team.
What other female tag teams in NXT besides Duke and Shafir?
Knox and
it'll be Candice
LeRae.
LeRae now.
Yeah, Candice LeRae and Tegan Knox.
All right.
There you go.
That's about it?
I think
that's
belts?
It. No,
24/7 champ. 24/7 champ would be,
EC3.
No, it has to be an NXT member, dude.
I don't even know where he is anymore.
Mansoor is your 24/7 champion.
Yes, that's brilliant. Yes.
Defend that in Saudi Arabia, pal.
Yep. Thank you, Andy. That was a fun one. Let's see. Next up, Martin. Damn, that's a good question from Andy. Why can't Vince use NXT called-up wrestlers correctly? Or is it down to the wrestler, not the booking? No, it's always the booking. Looking back at your old shows, is there any predictions you made that you were wrong, that in hindsight you think that what were we thinking? Like Sonya Deville will be a top wrestler. Oh, and sorry to be an ass, but it's Martine. Thank you.
Martine.
Thank you. I always appreciate correcting on name pronunciations. Martine. So the question is, why can't Vince use NXT called-up wrestlers correctly?
I think it's largely because Vince, and this is documented, Vince wants all the ideas to be his, right? Like he wants to feel like he's put his stamp on something, and if something works, it's on him. So he's got to tweak everything that comes out of NXT. He can't just leave it. You'll notice he never leaves something exactly as it is in NXT. He always tweaks it a bit so he can say, so it's basically in his world, so he can say, I did this. And sometimes the tweaks are minor, but sometimes the tweaks are major. And a lot of the time, the tweak, because they nail it in NXT most of the time, if you tweak perfection, it screws it up. And it's up to the performer to make good on whatever Vince does. And I think right now, Ricochet is doing a good job of taking the stupid tweaks that Vince is doing with him and making them work. He's a real superhero. He goes kapwing. He now does the little like the flash thing that he does where he like winds up for the run. All those stupid little things that Vince is putting on him, or someone in creative is putting on him, or Vince is saying you're a superhero, figure out some superhero shit, and Ricochet is coming up with whatever it is. It's not as cool as Ricochet was in NXT, but it's certainly more of a specific gimmick. And he's kind of making it work, and the kids are loving him. Like Ricochet is, from what I understand, in high standing in the company. His merch is selling well, and people love him. So he's actually doing well. But Vince doesn't get a guy like Aleister Black. And we were saying this since day one, was Vince is not going to get this character. He's not going to understand how to sell this or do this. And sure enough, if you look at the tweaks that Vince is making to Aleister Black, he just does not get the guy. He doesn't know how to sell him. He doesn't know how to make him work at all. And if there was one person I would nominate to go back to NXT right now, it would not be Kevin Owens. It would be Aleister Black, because NXT is the place for him right now with the kind of exposure and love they're getting. And he is a guy who could do tons of amazing things in NXT right now with the roster that's down there. And he's not being used at all well on main roster.
No.
But if the question was, why can't Vince use wrestlers correctly? That's why, because Vince needs to put his own stamp on everything. And
there was an interview recently with the Viking Raiders, with Eric specifically, I think. And
right.
They were talking about what happened with the Viking experience and Viking Raiders thing. And he went over it in pretty good detail. He said they showed up, and they came out, and it was too late to change anything, and it was Viking experience. And after the match and after everything happened...
And they were fighting Vince on it. They were fighting Vince on that name.
And so they came back and they talked to Vince, and he says, present me with 10 different options. And so they came up with them, and Viking Raiders was allegedly like the last one. And Vince picked that one, and they were okay with it because it was one that was on their list. It wasn't the one they wanted.
Right.
But it was
we can work with this. We can work with this kind of thing. Yeah.
And it's kind of an example of it was Vince's decision to do Viking experience, but he also made the decision. It's a weird reverse psychology, and you kind of have to do this in the workplace sometimes with a boss. You have to kind of get them to see that your way, and give them a bunch of options that are terrible, and then make them pick the one that obviously isn't that terrible. Viking Raiders, they got praised a lot. Vince really liked the attire and the gimmick and the look, and loves Vikings, loved the TV show. That was something else that they called out in the interview. But yeah, so that's a good example of it, is when they can do that. So Let's see. Was there anything else in here? Looking back at your old shows, are there any predictions you made that were wrong that in hindsight you think, what were we thinking? Yeah, the Cena running up to Mania for the 17th.
I told you that was wrong when you were doing
18 months ago.
I told you that. I was trying to tell you that at the time.
I was riding that train off the cliff, but he was coming back just enough to get that sort of legend shine, just to give him that one more sort of Goldberg-esque championship. And I rode that train too far. So, yep, that's one I regret.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if I have any calls that I regret. I don't know if I said anything. I think
Rey Mysterio beating Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series 2019.
That's still very fresh, Nick. That's still very fresh. That's a fresh wound. I need you to lay off that shit. That hurts.
Welcome to my world of the other 11 months of the year.
Right. You know what? That Ray one is one of the ones that hurts. Also, Samoa Joe. I think I said he was going to be a champ at one point. I'm like, I hear like, oh, it was the Fatal 5-Way. I said 100% no chance Samoa Joe wins Fatal 5-Way. And that one burned me so hard because I'm so mad I didn't pick him and then he won it. Yeah, no, there hasn't been many. I usually tend to qualify a lot. I'll be like, I'll say something like, I think this will happen, but I'm pretty sure it won't, or something like that. I very rarely go 100% in on something. Even the Ray Brock thing, like I qualified that, where I was like, I know it's a dumb pick. I was just mad at myself for believing it all. Like, it was so.
You fell into the trap.
Well, it was, if they'd had it, if the finish of that match had been something less insulting than the typical Brock Lesnar, screw you, like you can throw anything at me, F5, you're done. If it had been anything other than that, just insulting finish. Like it was salt in the wound. It was just a whole salt lick in the wound.
Even after I told you exactly how it was going to go down,
you
agreed with me.
With you.
And you still picked him.
Yeah, I did. If I go down, I'm going down in flames. All right?
I guess. Good Lord.
All the way. I am going right into that damn iceberg. I'm not clipping the iceberg. I'm going straight into it.
Right.
Straight into it. I'm not. This ship is.
Thank you.
It's not going to take an hour and a half for the ship to sink. You know what I mean? Jack and what's her name aren't going to be sitting there talking the entire time. This thing's going straight to the bottom right away.
Right.
U-boat coming in, torpedoing the whole damn ship. We're done. Anyway, yes, I regret that. Thanks a lot for pointing it out.
Sir Ian Lufthansa.
Lusitania.
Oh,
Lusitania.
Right. Lusitania, sorry.
Lufthansa.
It's been a long show.
Hashtag Nick history.
Thank you, Martine, for the question. I appreciate that one. That was a really good one.
Going to Australia there,
next
Nick?
up.
Come on.
Yeah, right. Next up, Jacob. What is your favorite match stipulation, and what is your favorite match from that stipulation? This one's real easy for me. I'm going to throw it out there first.
Go for it.
Ladder matches,
Yep.
and it's going to be the WrestleMania 2000 ladder match with Dudley Boys,
Yep.
Edge and Christian,
Hardys.
and the Hardy Boys
Yep.
for the world. The triangle ladder match.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was called, wasn't it?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's just easily. It's going to be TLC matches, and God, we got TLC coming up in a couple weeks, and it's all ladder matches are my favorite by far. I love the Money in the Bank match and the build towards that, and the fallout from it, and just ladder matches easily. And you're not going to find better than the guys that invented the shit, which was the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian.
Technically, Bret Hart and Razor Ramon.
Okay,
but okay. I'm the same. Ladder matches are my favorite stipulation. I could run down a list for 20 minutes of all of my favorite ladder matches. Like
Shawn Michaels has had some big ones.
Oh yeah,
Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels.
Jericho and Shawn Michaels. Jericho and Benoit. With the walls of Jericho on the top of the ladder. Undertaker and Jeff Hardy. I'm trying to think of some other ones. The frickin' NXT 5-way ladder match recently. One of the most PWG history here at 3 Mendes number 3. It was a 3-way ladder match. It was the Super Smash Brothers, who you now know as the Dark Order in AEW, versus Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who at the time were known as Future Shock, versus the Young Bucks. That is one of the best ladder matches you'll ever see. PWG 3 Mendes 3. It is freaking unreal. Some of
buy the DVDs. Support PWG, please.
Some of Kevin Steen and El Generico's ladder matches. What other ladder matches? Obviously, the classic Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon is still like people are learning about that one. So they're still looking at that and going, this is how you do a ladder match with Razor Ramon going under the ladder. Like, I love all of that shit.
I want to give some love to the new ones too. There's New Day Usos, and it was Lucha Dragons, I think is what they were calling themselves at the time, where it was Kalisto and
Sin Cara.
TLC from like 16, 15, 16, I can't remember which one it was exactly, but it was the tag team championship ladder match, TLC match. I think it was a ladder match. I don't remember it, but yeah, there's been some good ones recently as well, especially New Day Usos and stuff in there. So yeah,
trying to
just ladder matches easily, just no question.
Yeah,
all the ladder matches.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of other recent good ones. Ziggler has had a couple cool ones. What else? Oh yeah, Ziggler Harper. Remember Ziggler and Harper from TLC 2014? Ziggler and Harper had an absolutely amazing one. I think it was underrated.
Vaguely. I remember it happened. I don't remember the match. I'd have to go look at it.
Yeah, there's a few Money in the Bank ones.
That's a long
The
time ago.
Young Bucks had a bunch of great ones at Ring of Honor. Like, yeah, just I could list ladder matches forever. I love ladder matches.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Boom.
Just the high spots you get off of them.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at Adam Cole and Dijak last week. I mean, just.
Yep.
Oh, so good. Thank you very much, Jacob. I could throw a shout out to some of the other ones as well, but we could be here forever. Next up, Austin. Hey guys, I don't know if you can, but I have two questions. First, I love the Fiend and all that's happening. How do you guys feel about the no-selling finishers? I feel some superstars moving forward aren't used to it. The Stomp died, and I was worried the Yes Kicks would too. How could they fix the actual Fiend match so it's not just a dead fish getting beat up? I see your point, but I think the Fiend needs to be the Dragon, and I think the Dragon needs to withstand traditional wrestling moves.
But 7 stomps in a row? I get what he's saying here.
Yeah, but I mean, that wasn't what took him down. It was the ref stoppage. Like, if he had sat up Undertaker style underneath through all those chairs and stuff that was piled on
I guess
top
what I'm
of
saying,
him
and I think what Austin's saying is, does it need to be 7? Can he kick out of like 1 or 2 at 1, and that's scary, and then that's the big moment? It doesn't have to be, why is it 7? Like, now he's so overpowered. He's so invincible that when Roman spears him, once and he goes down, we're all gonna be like, oh, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns WrestleMania match with 5 F5s and Roman kicks out. It's like, how can you believe he's gonna get taken down by anything after that? And obviously, sort of attention span, we all just go with it. But that's why those matches are so dumb, is we know that next week he's gonna go down to a regular person's finisher, and it makes no sense. I mean, I think it's okay to have him no-sell stuff, but it's a matter of building the match so that you don't have to have finisher spam to make him look invincible. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Otherwise, you turn it into a video game.
Right. Or a cartoon. And that's kind of what they're doing here. Have him maybe anticipate moves, so he's not getting caught in moves so much.
But I like him absorbing the yes kicks, which are infamous as far as Daniel Bryan's concerned as some of the hardest kicks out there.
But then again,
I'm rolling my eyes a little bit.
The dead fish getting beat up, where he's just sitting there taking all this punishment, and then he just gets back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why does he have to take all the punishment? Is what I'm saying, is maybe have him be more of an active member of the match. But it's kind of, you know what it is? It's less like he's sitting there taking the shots. Because I'm thinking about him in the context of a horror movie, because he's a horror movie villain. That's how Bray Wyatt is building him. He's Jason, right? He's Michael Myers.
Yeah.
He takes the punishment. He keeps coming back, right? Just when you think he's dead, he comes back from the dead. Unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily translate to a wrestling match as well as it does in a movie. And even in a movie, at a certain point, you go, all right, come on, how much can he come back from? And I think maybe look at it. Maybe he should be more of because he's supernatural, I think they're playing him more like a Jason or a little bit like Michael Myers, because both of those, Jason is essentially a super zombie, and Michael Myers human, apparently, but yet he can withstand more damage than an average human. So something's weird there. I don't think he should be as much of a Jason, where Jason just takes all kinds of punishment. But Jason just keeps coming at you. He doesn't stop usually, right? So maybe that's what it should be, is that he should just keep coming, but be less of a lumbering kind of creature and anticipate more. He's supposedly smart, right? So instead of being like a lumbering, stalking by walking kind of horror villain, maybe he should be a little faster, a little scarier.
Yeah.
And actually have an active part in the match. So that's what
I kind of like that in the early days of The Fiend, we're showing that the usual stuff ain't going to work on him. And it's going to cause guys to have to go above and beyond to take him down. Or he's just going to he's going to get a hold of you and change you. I kind of like this. And I think it's going to build to something to be the one that finally beats him, even though we all know it's just going to be Roman Reigns with a spear. I like the idea that we could potentially, invent some new stuff that, that could have to be there to take the Fiend down. I don't know. I'm guessing here.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that psychosis that it's putting into wrestlers, that even their best stuff isn't enough to take down the Fiend. And we've seen it now with Seth. We've seen it with Finn. We've seen it with Daniel Bryan. So, yeah, I like that. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Is he a dead fish sitting there taking it? Yeah, but we kind of need to see that first. And until we get to the point where somebody is going to take him down.
Right.
And it's going to be a Superman punch and a spear.
Quite a few, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
The second is, Nick, way back, you said you went to a military school of some sort. Just wondering what that was. I currently serve in the Army. Wondering if you're a fellow brother. No, not in the Army. I went to the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, the fifth federal academy that nobody knows about. So there's 5 academies. There's West Point, there's Annapolis, there's the Coast Guard Academy up in Connecticut, and there's the Air Force Academy out in Colorado Springs in Colorado. The 5th one is up in Long Island, New York, a little town called Great Neck, right outside of New York City on the North Shore, right below Connecticut. We have a huge rivalry with the Coast Guard. We call them Puddle Pirates because they don't really leave. They don't go out into international waters. Anyway, we are basically cargo shipping. So I went to a school that we wore naval uniforms, but we worked every day in coveralls. So it was the Merchant Marines. So I learned sailing and I learned, knot tying and a lot of Boy Scout kind of stuff. But I also rebuilt diesel engines that were 2 stories tall and learned a lot of my mechanical engineering stuff there. Right. So that's where I got my education, even though we were basically glorified grease monkeys. But that parlayed into a career in building data centers, working with a lot of electrical, working with a lot of running cable, 48-volt DC power, all kinds of stuff like that. But no, never served truly in the military. Just went to one of the academies. So, good question. Lots of good stuff there. Lots of good memories.
And thank you for your service, Austin. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Austin. Appreciate it, man. Jared McDonald, however, did serve 2 tours overseas. So if you ever want to rap about him, he was in the Army. He was a corpsman. So sorry if I'm outing you there, Sheriff McDonald, but always want to connect brothers in that way.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Austin. Next up, Dominic. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Even if we know the real Thanksgiving is in October. Oh, that's right, because he's in Toronto. Go Canada. Thank you guys for your hard work and all those hours you give us each week. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Brother.
Thank you. The question this week is, what would be a storyline that reached you personally? For me, it would be Jeff Hardy versus Undertaker and the whole build-up to the ladder match on Raw in 2002. Oh, that was a good one. One I always come back to as my favorite of all time. So, Sir Ian Dangerous, what would be a storyline that reached you on a personal level?
Wow.
I'm gonna say Ciampa and Gargano.
Oh, really? That's that recent?
Just the first one that came to my mind. And it's probably because it's the most recent. But the not only the fact that I lived through it and got to see it in the modern era of wrestling when we were mostly vacant of investing in storylines as much as they did that one, but the breakup of DIY, who were just overwhelmingly loved, and that just made Ciampa's turn on Johnny after that much worse.
That bald
and
bastard!
Then, the son of... Well, we can't anymore. He's a nice guy now. He's a
We're
super
talking
famous.
about when he was.
I know, but that's going to be the one. And then that leading to the buildup of Johnny Wrestling and seeing his 4-year career at NXT just kind of explode seemingly out of nowhere, and him becoming Mr. Takeover, Johnny Takeover, Johnny Wrestling, all that stuff. And then culminating in the matches earlier this year with Adam Cole. And you could see that when he had him in the Gargano escape and he was just rocking him back and forth and just screaming, I was going, oh my God. Well, why do I feel these feelings?
Right.
That just, you could feel the heart coming out of some of those matches.
Absolutely.
Man, that's one that really got me.
Good call.
Yeah.
I would have to say Mick Foley winning the belt in 98, was that? 98, 99? January 4th, January 6th, something like that. Whatever that
99, yeah.
99, that episode of Raw. Yeah. Was it 99? Was it 98? When he finally won the belt, beat The Rock for the championship. The infamous episode of Raw where they spoiled it on WCW. They spoiled it on Nitro. Nitro said, hey, just so you all know, tonight Mick Foley wins the belt. That'll put butts in seats.
It was 99. January 4th, 1999.
There you go.
I Googled it.
Watched it.
And it was, there was this, I remember there was a little bit of story around this about whether it was a mistake or not. If there was it was one of those calls that, was that really supposed to happen?
The way the whole match was booked, it wasn't a mistake. They had everyone out there to carry him around his shoulders. Stone Cold came out to muddle it. So, he didn't win clean. Stone Cold came out to throw but it was one of the biggest pops you ever heard when Stone Cold came out. Because everyone knew the fix was in. I was watching that live. We mentioned in Christmas traditions. I was home from college for Christmas break, and I watched that at our breakfast table with my pops. We watched it together. And we both were just talking about it for the rest of the day because it was so freaking exciting. It was so insane. And being a huge fan of Mick Foley and seeing him finally get strapped and everyone carrying him around on their shoulders, like that was huge. That's about as big as the heart exploded ever in wrestling. That was unbelievable. Also, the Daniel Bryan run and winning at WrestleMania that year was a huge one. It's funny. Jesus, Eddie and Benoit winning at WrestleMania together.
Oh God.
Oh
okay.
Man. And
we're gonna have to do a whole episode on.
And
these,
in hindsight, that's a particularly brutal one to think back on. Jesus. Yeah. Also, more recently, the Pentagon Junior run in Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Was like really got under my skin. Like I was so invested. In some of the
first season, I invested wholly in that. Holy smokes!
Shit, like where he was just breaking people's arms right and left and messing with Vampiro, and like he almost burned him to death on one episode, covered him in gasoline. And then at the end of the whole thing, Vampiro's like, "Fine, you want me? I'm gonna take you old school. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna go back to my dark place. I'm gonna come out as evil Vampiro, and we're gonna do a Cero Miedo match. We're gonna try to kill each other." And Pentagon gets his mask mostly ripped off. There's blood everywhere. There's light tubes. It's one of the gnarliest death matches of the modern era. And at the end of it, Vampiro loses and then demands that Pentagon break his arm. And he does. Pentagon breaks his arm. And then Vampiro's sitting there in the ring, covered in blood. And he says, "Well done, my child." And he reveals that he has been the master that has been pulling the strings on Pentagon the entire season. And he's the guy who's been telling, and like the final test of the whole thing was, you have to destroy me, and if you can do that, then you will have come into your. Oh my God!
It's like every kung fu movie ever that you've watched, and just the student becomes the master, and just God, yes!
The horror of the whole thing, and just the brutality. That got me good. So.
Yeah,
great question.
That was really good call there on that one. Great question, Dominic. Thank you very much. And good shout out to the Hardy Taker from ladder match from 2002 Raw. Yep. Next up, Sean. I like this idea that the Fiend changes people. It looks like he might hold the belt for a little bit too. Who do each of you think will be a superstar who could use a reincarnation to their best self with the help of the Fiend?
Who needs a reset?
Liv Morgan, I think seems to be everybody's choice right now.
Supposedly she's on Raw and he's on SmackDown, so I mean, obviously that
stopped anything ever before.
Exactly. Who needs a reset?
Cesaro.
Like who could?
Cesaro could really use one, but I don't know if he'd fit there.
I don't know if he's never been enough of a character.
Other than the bar, he's really never found his place. He was the goon for Jack Swagger under Zeb Coulter there for a while, and then like he's never really he's the Swiss Cyborg. Okay, what does that even mean? So I think Cesaro is one of those guys that hasn't ever like hit his stride and found his place.
Lars Sullivan.
That actually would not be terrible.
Have him come out and just be like, put him in as partly ironic and partly intimidating. Put him in like, not exactly like a Bane mask, but something intimidating, like a mask of some sort that's intimidating. Not like the Fiend either, but something more Lucha style. So it's ironic.
Yeah.
But then have him just, go completely dark and start murdering people, a la Bane in the actual Batman comic books, not Bane in the movies.
Bane,
the real Bane. I don't know.
Adam Cole, Bane. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
That was terrible. Turn in your card. I think I'm joking with Lars Sullivan. I'm trying to think of someone else who could use a nice reset. I mean Bailey, but she's already shown she can't really pull it off.
No.
I
think Liv. If you watch Total Divas, you get a little inside scoop this season on Liv Morgan, and she's quirky.
Oh no!
Like
we're getting swerve. We're getting a swerve. Nia Jax is coming back as Bray Wyatt's monster, and WWE's answer to Nyla Rose. Telling you right now, watch for it. Nia Jax.
I don't think Nia Jax is coming back.
Coming back as the monster among women.
I don't think Nia Jax is coming back at all.
You hope. You're hoping.
It's not a hope. I'm being legit right now. I think she's done.
They're swerving you. They're making you think that, and there's going to be a big celebration when she comes back.
Yeah, I'm going to poop my pants. Side note, I'd love if you guys decided to just incorporate Bright Side of the Ring to the show so I don't have to ask, because I love the positivity last week. Yeah, that was good.
It was. I like that.
Keep being awesome. Happy holidays, everyone, and support the hell out of this show because we have a pretty awesome wrestling community here, and I'd love to see it grow.
Let's do it. Let's do a quick bright side. And thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
dude. Happy holidays to you as well. Let's do our bright side of the ring here. I'll try and incorporate it into writing the show next week, because I think that's a good idea. End on a bright spot. That's a really good idea. Let's knock it out really quickly here, since we're on it right now. What was your bright side of the ring for the week?
There were so many. I'm trying to pick one to hone in on.
I'll go first. I'll go first if you're thinking.
Yeah, go for it.
I was how incredibly fun and funny and entertaining the Festival of Friendship. The Jericho Appreciation segment was at the beginning of AEW.
Appreciation of Le Champion. Oh, what happened to your chair over there?
I got real short all of a sudden.
Holy smoke!
There it is. Hey, I'm back.
I liked the. My favorite spot of the week probably was the Keith Lee pouncing Adam Cole into the crowd.
That was beautiful.
But I overall liked the dynamic between Undisputed Era and Ciampa, Dijak, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle. Just this week, Finn Balor inserting himself into the middle of that, literally and figuratively. That whole thing on NXT this week became the whole theme of the show, and I loved all of it.
And I liked thinking about, taking Sean's idea here of the bright side of the ring, thinking about something in wrestling programming this week that made me smile. Something that made me just when I saw it, I went, yeah. I was smiling the entire Jericho segment. I got a bit of a grin at the pounce, but it was more of excited kind of thing. I'm thinking of just something that just made me grin ear to ear, and it has to be the Jericho segment. His dad coming out of the damn box. Oh my God. The whole, it was just one thing, the GOAT. It was one thing after another. One thing after another.
I love that they called out on commentary of AEW that he's one of the top 100 New York Rangers of all time. And I'm just like, wait, that's not even a compliment.
That's a great line. Oh, yeah. I'm smiling again, even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Keep being awesome. Happy holiday. Oh, I read that already. Thank you very much,
again,
Sean.
And
we'll figure out a way to start working in Bright Side of the Ring on a regular basis. I love that idea. Next up, Marshall, brand new patron, just signed up today. Welcome, Marshall.
Thank
to
you.
The Phenomenal Ones. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
His question, new patron here. I want to know how many drinks it would take each of y'all to spend $6,500 on a Bray Wyatt Fiend championship belt.
The real question here is, because it's really hard to get me drunk. And that's not a humble brag. That's not a brag. It's just a fact. Nick's drunk with me. He knows how this works. I don't get stupid or compulsive when I drink. It's more like how many drinks would I have to not have to save up enough to get 65? Because I ain't got $6,500 to spend on a championship belt.
No,
I'll tell you right now. Now, if again, and I was saying this during the regular show this week, it's a Tom Savini prop. If I had $6,500 and I was like, you have to buy a Tom Savini prop, I'd say, good, I will. But not the damn championship belt. I want like a real horror movie prop from Tom Savini. I want like, a mock-up from Dawn of the Dead or something like that. Like, give me something else. Like I've seen his house and all the stuff he's got stuffed in there. Give me something. Give me something of that. He's got it's not his. He's got an old Stan Winston mock-up of Pumpkinhead, and I'm a huge Pumpkinhead fan. Like if I was to get like that Stan Winston mock-up of a Pumpkinhead head from Pumpkinhead, dude, yeah, $6,500 on a championship belt. One, you couldn't get me drunk enough, and two, I don't know where that money's coming from. So I don't think it's possible.
If you told me that there were only going to be like 100 of them made or 50 of them made, and that they were going to like triple in value over time, I would look at it as potentially an investment. But at the end of the day,
so you'd get it sober, is what you're saying. If you thought it was an investment,
it wouldn't be about drinking. I would want to think through like, how am I going to get my money back, kind of thing. This is not something.
So how many drinks would it take you to put yourself in the mindset of, I bet it's an investment? It'll go up in value. How drunk would you have to be to have that logic make sense to you?
So as Surrey and Dangerous said earlier, it takes a lot to get him drunk. It does not take a lot to get Nick drunk. Nick is a lightweight. Nick doesn't drink very much.
No, I've seen you pound a lot of Miller Lights. You can.
So beer, yes.
You can take a lot of Miller.
Hellfires down my throat.
Yes.
And I don't remember where 4 hours went.
Right. See, that's the thing. You can drink a lot of beer. I can't drink a lot of beer because I got nowhere to put it. Like I top out at a certain point of, I can't drink any more beer, and I'm not drunk. I'm just full and I feel gross. So I'm a liquor man. You're a beer dude. But as a result, liquor and I are good buddies. I'm not really too worried about getting to a point where I'm suddenly be like, yeah, championship, but it's only $6,500. That's reasonable. I could do it. I got this. I got space on my wall. It would look really good on my wall. Yeah. It's great.
I don't know that there's any amount of alcohol, Marshall, that would encourage me enough to real talk to spend $6,500 on a championship title.
Long answer short. Same. You couldn't. No, wouldn't happen.
I just got a big house and I got some shit to do. There's a lot of honeydews in that $6,500 right there. But anyway, I absolutely would not spend $6,000. Please, if you're listening, I mean, if you just won the lottery and you just want a Bray Wyatt face mask on a strap of leather for some reason, okay. I mean, knock yourself out, but that's about it. I'd have to win the $50 million Powerball.
I'd love to know how many people actually buy this thing. I really would like to know.
Me too. I think it should be like Willy Wonka. They should announce it in the paper, whoever buys one.
Just so we can all make fun of it.
Right, exactly.
You bought it?
Thank you, Marshall, and welcome to the Phenomenal Ones. Next up, Brian, what are some of your favorite rivalries of all time that may not get enough recognition from fans and historians? Ooh.
Unsung rivalries. Everyone
I'm drawing a blank.
Everyone I think of, I'm like, no, like people know about Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero and ECW. People know about trying to think of other good ones. People know about Tanahashi and Nakamura. Like, I'm trying to think of just ones that we don't talk about often. Cena and Orton. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk. There's one. Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk had an awesome rivalry for a while in Texas. that was outstanding. Some great, like, just all-time classic promos. I like their rivalry going either way, because they both were both heel and both face at one point across a couple different rivalries, across a couple different territories. They worked awesome matches together. I've got the shirt from one of their rivalries, the Dusty Sucks Eggs shirt from one of their rivalries. I always love when they worked each other. Some of the old matches I saw, some of the old stuff, programming I saw from them was fantastic. So I'll go on the board as saying that Dusty and Terry.
I'm completely drawing a blank because all of my favorite rivalries are all very well known. I am struggling to find one that is not well known. I feel like that we've got enough wrestling historians on Twitter and YouTube and podcasts now that there's not a lot that is not out there and known.
Like, hey guys, remember how great this was, kind of thing.
I mean, if you listen to Cornette and you listen to his podcast and him, there's videos about him burying the universe, right? That kind of stuff. The stories that he tells, if you can get past a lot of his language, there's a lot of history in there, and there's like the backstory of him telling the comeuppance of Batista before he ever got to BWO. WWE is an interesting story. Like, they were pushing Batista to the moon, but he was being a brat a lot of the time and not doing kind of the work that they were trying to get him to do. So stuff like that. It's not rivalries, but I look at, are there any, it's not just in-ring rivalries. There's rivalries between, management and stuff like that. You can go back and look at, from the Ric Flair documentary, some of the stuff with Vern Gagne and him. And, come on, Jesse Ventura and Gagne from the... So there's a lot of history of that stuff as well.
Right.
But if we're just talking in-ring stuff, I don't know that there's a lot of stuff that's not either well documented or really well known. So I'm drawing a little bit of a blank.
All right. Well, you do your research and get back to it on.
I will.
On the Facebook group. Let's actually get that up in the Facebook group, because I think we're going to have a lot of people getting a lot of interesting ones, and I think if we sit and think as well, we'll come up with a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
So
that's good. And I feel bad for letting down our current and new champion. So I'll think on that one, Brian.
The champ. Brian the champ.
Yeah. Let's see. Thank you, Brian. Next up, Eric. Should Impact make this week's throwback episode an annual event? I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list.
Oh my God,
absolutely,
it was so
I've
much
heard
fun.
Amazing things about it, and I can't wait to go watch it.
It was so much
probably
fun.
tonight. I'm still catching up on the week after Thanksgiving travel stuff. So, bear with me. I'll put a thread up and we can talk about that, because I've heard amazing things about that throwback episode. So,
it's great.
Thank you, Eric.
It's great.
Do
it more.
Absolutely.
They
should do it. Do more of that.
Yes, please.
We've seen the rise of NWA Power, and going back to studio wrestling, doing the throwback style like that. There's no reason we shouldn't do more of that kind of stuff.
And we all, again, they threw kayfabe out the window. You know what? And they had a lot of fun doing it, and they made a very entertaining show.
Yeah.
So it was good times. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Next up, Brandon. Do you see Orange Cassidy having an underdog story in AEW, going from comedy wrestler to legit main eventer? And if yes, can you please fantasy book it?
No, he will never be a main eventer. He will always be a comedy guy, unless he totally changes his gimmick. I can see him being involved in main event feuds, but he's never going to be the guy who wins the belt. He's just not. That's just not who he is.
I could see him doing something silly. The new ring that they just gave MJF, if that's going to be a title long term, he could roll over with his hands in his pockets on a passed out MJF or something like that, or a knocked out MJF. Stuff like that. And it could be it's still going to be a comedic comedy moment. But could to a legit main eventer? No. I don't see him ever getting to that point, because that's just not his thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, without completely overhauling it, which they're not going to do anytime soon, because it's so really over right now. Anytime he gets in the ring, anytime he lightly taps somebody in the shin, that the entire crowd pops every single time. You'd think it was Stone Cold doing what chance? Jesus. Let's see. Brandon, thank you very much for the question. Last up, Josh. Who for you guys made the... Oh, I love this question.
Okay.
God, I've been wanting to talk about this all week. Who for you guys made the best impression between TakeOver and Survivor Series? Adam Cole, Keith Lee, or Rhea Ripley?
Jesus, that's a tough one, because, I think Adam Cole, I'm going to have to take him right out, because he just had a match with Pete Dunne, and a lot of the lack of a better word, casual audience was like, okay, I think that was a good match, but like in terms of like blowing out the doors on themselves, Rhea Ripley or Keith Lee are going to be the number, like those, it's going to be between them. And if you narrow it down to those two, I'm going to have to say that Keith Lee got about as strong of a coronation as you could possibly get. The dude went toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns, got a 2.999 count on him, and then got
that was a 3.
And then got
that was a 3.
That was a 3.
Fight me. Whether it was a botch or a ref screw up or somebody didn't kick out, Roman didn't kick out soon enough, that was a 3.
Yeah, and he get the fist bump afterwards. Like if it's got to be Keith Lee, and it was a very close second, Rhea Ripley, and then a good bit below Adam Cole.
So, I want to clarify, Josh, your question was the best impression between TakeOver and Survivor Series. I agree completely with what Ian just said. If we're looking at the work rate and things throughout the last week or two building to TakeOver and Survivor Series, I'm going to Adam Cole, without a doubt. Dude was everywhere. He was on every show. He was having matches. He was defending his title twice. Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins having a ladder match with Dijak, and then went and did War Games, and then went and did a title defense with Pete Dunne on Survivor Series. So that's where Adam Cole easily wins. But if you're looking at just the two events themselves, it's probably going to be Lee.
It's got to be Keith Lee. I think I've heard so many people buzzing about him since. Like his Twitter blew up. Everyone being like, "Who are you? You're amazing." There's a reason that Keith Lee is our bumper for this whole
show
week.
This week.
Yeah,
every show.
Because you know what we don't want you to do? We don't want you to forget about Keith. So don't you forget about Keith. Don't
you forget about
Keith. Yeah. Don't you do it. When you walk on by,
when you bask in his glory.
Bask in his glory. Bask in his glory. Bask in his glory. Oh, sorry.
All right, we got one more coming in last minute from Esmeralda in the chat, and then we got to get out of here.
Tuning out right and left.
Last but certainly not least, Esmeralda is sneaking hers in again in the chat.
Okay.
Naughty.
You got it up late, Nick.
I did. Naughty. Anyway, Thanksgiving. Sorry. Best Wrestle Kingdom moment, period. Go.
Damn. Moment? I mean, can I just say matches? I mean, Wrestle Kingdom. You've got Omega Okada. You've got Nakamura Styles. You've got Naito Tanahashi. You've got Nakamura Ibushi from Wrestle Kingdom 9, which was nuts.
I got to go Okada and Kenny and Omega. One, because I don't have the history.
Okada and Kenny. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jesus. Oh, you know what one was recent that I loved? Oh, no. Ishii and Shibata from Wrestle Kingdom 10. If you haven't seen that, dude, it's exactly.
That's one I got to go back and see.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts so good. It's so gnarly. No, one from. Okay, so here's one, and this is just one that I love because I'm a huge Suzuki mark. You know, I love me some Minoru Suzuki. 2017 Wrestle Kingdom. What was that? 12. 2017 was 12.
Yeah.
The hair versus hair match. Suzuki Goto. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
That match was so cool.
Suzuki got his head shaved.
Yeah. But remember it's
and that's what led into the drawing and shit on his head, right? He was already in the drawing,
but before he had the little mohawk on the back of his head.
It's like a mohawk, yeah.
Yeah. But that was the match where he choked out Goto. He got on the top turnbuckle and he choked him out, and Goto was dead. We were like, he's dead. And he came back.
Stop the match.
Had a great comeback. Ended up beating Suzuki, and Suzuki goes he gets a chair he's going to hit Goto with a chair, and that moment where he just goes, ugh! And that he's got that honor, he is the most evil son of a bitch on the planet, but he's still got honor, and he bam puts the chair down, and he just sits in it, and Goto's kind of like, oh, okay, he's not going to kill me. I guess I got to shave his head. No, Suzuki's
like,
shaving his own head.
Am I really about to shave Minoru Suzuki's head? No, Minoru Suzuki shaves his own damn head.
Just does it to himself. Shaves his head. Just grabs the hair. Poof, just poof the hair and just stalks off. Oh, that was good.
That was yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff. I'll go with that. There's a million other ones. I mean, like I said, I called all those other great matches. You know, Ishii and Shibata having the strike off. AJ Styles doing the gun at Nakamura and Nakamura swallowing the bullet. I mean, there's a bunch of great moments. I'm gonna go with Suzuki shaving his own head.
I think one of mine might be happening in the next
Something
month.
that's coming. What's that?
Ibushi getting both titles.
Well, yes. When Naito does win both titles, Nick, it will be a very big moment.
That's not what I said.
As a big Naito fan, will enjoy when Naito gets both titles. Yes, that's right.
That's not what I said.
What you meant?
Thank you very much to all of our patrons that sent questions in for this episode of the Patron Mailbag number 9. Thank you guys very much. And if you guys would like to get in on some of this, head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers over there. Just the $5 tier is all you need to get your question in every single week for the Patron Mailbag series. Right here on youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and jingle the little notification bell so you get alerted anytime we schedule new events or go live or put up new videos or all that stuff. We are on the race to 1,000 subscribers, and we're about at the halfway mark. So tell your family, tell your friends, tell your wrestling buddies everywhere you go to subscribe to the Busted Wide Open channel on YouTube. We really need
sign up, Grandpa Earl. Sign up.
It's gonna unlock all the cool stuff in YouTube, and we want to do that. So we're really driving hard for it to get that because of Adpocalypse a couple of years ago. So anyway, if you're curious what that is, go look it up. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. Right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Streaming live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Times. I got it right that time.
Yay.
But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at Data Center Dude.
And I am Surrey and Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Surrey and Dangerous.
But by God!
Nobody's off the damn mat!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.